sense our enthusiasm for the College of Arts and Science and BU in general. I'm going to do a brief presentation, but first of all, we have a couple of ways for you to ask questions through the chat function and through Q&A. We have a couple advisors. I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves in a moment, but I want you to be able to start asking your questions as soon as you have them. So use chat and Q&A. I'll do a brief presentation, and then we will sign off. So first of all, Stacy, just say who you are.
Oh, yes. I was like, yes. Hi, everybody. I'm Stacy Ulrich, Director of Student Programs and Leadership in the College of Arts and Sciences.
And Courtney.
Hi, everyone. I'm Courtney Martin. I'm the Director of Academic Advising for the College of Arts and Science Advising Center.
And Harry.
Hi, everyone. It's great to have you all here today. My name is Harry Dole, and I am an academic advisor in the College of Arts and Sciences.
So those guys will be monitoring your questions and responding. Now, before I introduce the students, I want to let you know that they're all part of our Dean's Hosts. Our Dean's Hosts is a student-run, solely student-run organization that helps us with these recruitment events and are a tremendous resource. In fact, just about an hour ago, they were part of a program we did for incoming students. So they really can give a perspective that those of us that work here can't, and they are going to do that today. So I'll call your name just to make this work, and if you can do a brief introduction, that would be great. Let's start with Mark.
Hello, thank you for the introduction, Dean Jarvi. My name is Mark Marsden. I'm a junior in the College of Arts and Sciences here at Boston University. I'm majoring in international relations, and I'm originally from Oakhurst, New Jersey. My pronouns are he and his.
Hungru.
Hello, everyone. I am a sophomore here at BUCAS, and my major is biochemistry and molecular biology with a minor in computer science. And I'm from Newton, Massachusetts, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
Claire.
Hi, everybody. I'm Claire. I'm a senior, which is a yikes, but I'm majoring in art history with minors in visual arts and arts leadership in the College of Fine Arts. Oh, wow, that was a huge blank. But I'm originally from Chicago, Illinois, and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Elena.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elena DiMache. I'm a senior in the College of Arts and Sciences studying political science and international relations. I'm originally from outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and my pronouns are she, her, hers.
Trevor.
Hello, everyone. My name is Trevor. I'm a junior in the College of Arts and Sciences. I'm studying biology with a specialization in cellular, molecular, and genetic biology. I'm on a pre-med track, and I'm also in the Killishawn Honors College. I'm originally from Hawaii, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
And Allegra.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allegra Long. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a senior, which is a yikes, as Claire said, in the College of Arts and Sciences in a dual degree bachelor's master's program in political science with a minor in environmental analysis and policy. And I'm originally from Seattle, Washington.
Thank you, students. And I will note you heard 3 seniors that I'm sure are entering the job market. So parents, feel free to post any job openings or opportunities you have. You can't go wrong with our BU Dean's Hosts. Let me also just back up a little bit and say that I'm honored to represent the college, but there's really no one that could represent as large and diverse a place as the College of Arts and Sciences. So really on behalf of the dean, the faculty, the students, and all the staff, I'm thrilled that I can play this role. But the college is so much more than us, and hopefully you'll get a flavor of that through this presentation. Well, I'm going to shift gears and share my screen. And just go through some slides that will give you a taste of the opportunities in the College of Arts and Sciences. Now, I can't stress enough that there is no way in this time frame to present the entire college. For reasons I alluded to earlier, it's just too large and diverse and vital a place. So what we've done, and this is roughly the same presentation was given to students, is pick a few high impact practices. Those experiences that students tell me are really meaningful. In fact, some will say it's really one of the things that shapes their undergraduate experience. These experiences are not necessarily open to just CAS students, but I think CAS students are well positioned to take advantage of them. But again, please know this is just a sampling of what's available. This day and age, of course, students, and I'm sure you have been online looking at our, more than 90 majors and programs and opportunities. And this is, again, not a time to go through all those, but to really give you a student perspective on some of our programs. Let me stress that you can contact me at any time during this process. I'm a parent of 2 kids that have gone through college. I started my career as a guidance counselor in a high school, and I just feel like I have a good perspective on this entire process. So whether it's BU or not, that is your final destination, and I certainly hope it is for your son or daughter, feel free to reach out to me at any time, and you can just look me up, sjarvi@bu.edu. I also want to point out our beautiful campus here, and we've got a lot of questions about, is our campus open for tours? And the campus is open, but our buildings are restricted. And that may change over the course of the summer, and certainly we're expecting to be back to pretty much normal in the fall. But those of you planning summer trips, by all means, come by. You can get a really great experience, I think, just in our physical space. But you may call ahead if you want to visit specific buildings and programs. They may not be available. I also want to talk briefly about the value of liberal arts education. Again, this is something I probably don't have to convince many of you of, but it's something I spoke to your sons and daughters about, because regardless of their major, we think a liberal arts education is the key to success, whether it's in professional school, graduate school, life in general. We think the skills that we impart, regardless of the discipline, so whether you're a math major, a computer science major, an English major, or a psychology major, you're going to learn how to think critically, to write and communicate, to look at complex problems from various points of view, to essentially develop the skills that will serve you well regardless of what you do. So when I talk about the programs in this presentation, please know, first of all, that they're open to all majors, that we think they are an important part of any undergraduate's experience. And there's something that students do and meet other students along the way. So with that, let me start with the first one, which is our core curriculum. Again, details about all of these opportunities can be found online. I just want to give you a sense of the spirit of some of these programs, and I think the term learning community captures this spirit. This is a learning community that most students join in their first year, which is why we present it to incoming students. Roughly 200 plus students will join CORE every year. By learning community, it is a group of like-minded students that take the same classes. Now, it's open to all majors. So you'll take 1 or 2 core classes per semester, not every semester, but when you take that class, you're in a learning community of students and faculty. The best way to describe it really is by looking at the core courses, because it is interdisciplinary by nature. Our best faculty from the humanities and social science and natural sciences come and teach through the core. So each of these courses is crafted from different points of view and delivered oftentimes by a team of faculty. You can take, as I said, 1, 2, all 8 of these courses. If you take 6 of these courses, you actually earn a core minor. All core courses count toward general education. So they are popular courses, but the curriculum itself, being part of that learning community, is the key, in my opinion. And in fact, what makes it really special is that students are in small seminar courses. I can't stress that enough. BU is a big place, and we make no apologies. We're proud of our size because it allows us to offer so many opportunities. Really, it's just the breadth of majors and other things that you just wouldn't find at a small college. But by the same token, it can seem a little overwhelming. Well, I've had students describe CORE as a small liberal arts college within a large university. Seminars are capped at 16, taught by full faculty members, not teaching assistants or teaching fellows, and nothing against those folks. They're an important part of our educational process, but in the CORE, it's full faculty. But to give you a different perspective from the student side, let me introduce Mark so he can tell you about his experience with the CORE.
Absolutely, yeah. So the core curriculum is one of my favorite experiences that I've had here at BU. Like the dean just said, the classes are pretty small, and actually the professor on the last slide was Vladimir Petrovic, one of the faculty that I've been lucky enough to have. And really, the experience of CORE is being in this interdisciplinary environment where you're able to integrate with other students and basically learn a lot from them. I mean, it's the way I found my major because I came into the college undeclared. But for me, coming into college, I looked at the core curriculum and thought, okay, so I really like reading, which, not everybody does, but it was definitely a big thing for me. And I also appreciated the small classes. So being able to work in these small settings was an amazing way for me to transition into the core. And by doing that, I was able to kind of get my bearings. And something that's really important about the core as well is being able to fulfill a lot of your general education requirements. So it's a nice environment where you're able to learn from all these different disciplines where I would have never learned about higher level physics or theoretical physics and things like that, which is something that came in actually in my second year of core, which is super cool. But for me, it was definitely a way to kind of get out of my comfort zone, but then also stay comfortable learning alongside these faculty and other students. So I'm a huge fan of the core. It's an amazing way to kind of get your bearings in the curriculum and then, of course, be a part of that smaller community within the College of Arts and Sciences.
Thank you, Mark. And the cool t-shirts are a plus. Mark mentioned that he came in undeclared. I just want to pick up that point for a minute. Undeclared or undecided is our largest major among incoming students. And the core is an excellent way to taste the variety of disciplines within the college. So we will often let students know that if you're not sure what your major wants to be and you want to be introduced to the opportunities, core is a great way to do that. Now, at the end of this program, I'll talk more about the other opportunities to explore options. It's mostly for the incoming students, but if you want to learn more about the core or you want your sons and daughters to learn more about the core, encourage them to look for core presentations and core being part of some of our academic presentations later this month. Now, internships are really important, and I think as a parent myself, this is really an important slide, because as much as I can say to you, students should pursue the arts and sciences. They should major in philosophy. They should major in classics. They shouldn't worry about what that will lead them to because they will have a love of learning that will serve them for a lifetime. By the same token, you should expect that they're ready for the world beyond Boston University, that they can be gainfully employed, that they can have a career. And we work very hard to make sure that our liberal arts students can complement their academic program with practical, real world experiences. I want to just talk about two examples of that and then let two of our students share their internship experiences. The first example is the Yaki nonprofit internship program. As the name implies, nonprofits cannot often pay their interns. Boston University will pay our students to work at nonprofits. Often the internship hours don't allow them to work that job or that campus job or that summer job, and this is available in the summer as well. So we will provide stipends to allow students to get really important and meaningful experiences in a whole host of organizations, some in the Boston area, but it can be anywhere really in the world, and there are some examples listed here. So again, that Yaki endowment is a great way to encourage students to explore internships that they just might not be able to because they will not be compensated. The other example is something I think is especially critical for arts and sciences students because it's only open to CAS students, and that's our liberal arts internship program. In this case, we place students in internships right on campus. It's a great starter internship. You can easily weave it in with your courses, you earn credit, and you work at any number of campus offices, and some of them are listed there. They can be great, and they have been wonderful experiences, and often students use that to start to build that resume early in their careers. But I will say that we have many juniors and seniors who pursue these internships as well because they are really quality experiences. Now, there would be no way for me during this time to share with you all of the internships that students have done. We work very closely with our Center for Career Development. They literally have thousands of internships listed through their site. I think more importantly, since it's not really hard to get the internship, it's more what do you do and what do you get out of it. So to share their internship experiences, I'm going to look for Elena and Claire to share. Elena, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so my internship, it's the one pictured. It was the summer after freshman year. I did the domestic study abroad program in Washington, D.C. that we have, which is a really great opportunity. I was a political science student. I knew that I wanted to be in D.C. at some point. And so in applying for that process, looking for jobs, I interned with my local Congressman Connor Lamb. And at that point, I had never really like written a real resume or cover letter. So I went to our Center for Career Development to get feedback on it and to just put my best foot forward in applying for that position. And I kind of got lucky. It was a unique situation. He was elected in a special election, and I kind of just reached out before I even saw the application. And in that way, I kind of got my foot in the door really early on, but that was totally facilitated with the help of the Center for Career Development. And so in that internship, I did a lot of work with talking to constituents, writing emails, doing Capitol tours, doing legislative projects, which was really cool. This was something I went into college wanting to do by the time I graduated. And with the help of BU, I was able to do it the summer after freshman year, which was such an amazing opportunity. And I really took that opportunity to learn some of the technical skills of working in an office, but more importantly, learning to connect with the people in my office, hear about their experiences, their own paths. And I think the biggest thing I learned that summer is that the world is your oyster and there are so many open doors for you to choose from. And even now, like I'm not really going into something post-grad that has to do with what my internship was, but it really helped me to weed out like what I liked and what I didn't like. And that was really kind of this joint effort by my own BU experience and the people I got to work with at that internship.
Thanks, Elena. That's an awesome picture. Claire.
Yeah, hi everybody. So this picture is of my internship that I'm currently working at. So this is Beacon Gallery in Boston's South End. I'm currently doing this internship remotely, which is something that I never thought I would do as a Boston University student. But I meet with my boss once a week and we kind of go over kind of tasks for the week and that sort of thing. This image is of our annual art dash, which I actually helped virtually curate, which was super, super interesting. But it was over 50 pieces of artwork from local Boston artists, and we were selling them in order to give money back to the artists and their communities. So that was kind of one of the shows that I was really proud of working on. And then this is kind of an experience that was like looped back to the art history department because the owner of the gallery is actually a former history of art and architecture department alum. So which I didn't know when I was applying, but we kind of talk about some of the same professors and kind of about the department. So I think when she saw that on my resume, she was like, wait, Boston University, history of art and architecture. So we talk about that a lot, but it's an absolutely wonderful experience and one of my favorite things that I've done as a student here.
Thank you. So let's shift to research for a moment. Now, as you know, Boston University is a research university. In fact, I think its technical designation is a Research 1 university. What does that mean? Well, as you know, it's really a focus of all of our faculty to be creating the knowledge today that will be taught tomorrow. They are expected to be leaders in their fields, really the names in their disciplines that are advancing their fields of study. Now, that's any research university, and just in the Boston area, we're surrounded by them. But what I think what makes BU special is the fact that research is accessible to undergraduates as early as the freshman year. Now, let me say right off the bat that we don't recommend that first-year students in their freshman first semester get involved in research. For that matter, we don't necessarily recommend that they pursue internships. I think it's important to sort of get your academic legs under you, to get acclimated to the university environment, regardless of how strong or large your high school was. It's not going to be anything like Boston University. But not soon after sort of getting settled, students will start seeking out these opportunities. And the fact that they can do research is really, really important, and I think separates us from some of our competition. Now, to give you some sort of firsthand experience of their research, I'd like to turn to Claire and Hongru. Why don't Hongru go first?
All right. Hello, everyone. So I started researching. Well, I worked with a graduate student under his PI for, well, modeling these for protein tetramers, or sorry, dimers, using computational models and machine learning, which sounds like a bit of jargon, but which it is, I guess. But it's pretty interesting because of my minor and major. My major is biochemistry and molecular biology, and my minor is computer science. So I really wanted a way to connect these things. And as I said in chat a while ago, I believe, one of the main things that drove me to come to BU was because of the research opportunities here. And having these two connections, I felt like it was just a perfect match to go into like research based on this. And as for getting this research, I had a professor freshman year of chemistry who does this sort of thing. And as you get to know them, even though the class sizes are big, you do get to know your professors one-on-one. And as you build more of that connection, I just sort of found it very interesting what his research does. So I just reached out to him and he was like, yeah, totally. And I just thought that was really, really cool. And so now I get to work with this. So the project is to find out which amino acids, a mutation in which amino acids will cause the dimer, to become non-functional. And it is also a, what is it called? A remote thing. So it's using a lot of CS to program this, using a CS to, or using programming languages to try to understand the mechanism of this. And I meet with the graduate student approximately once every week to go over my project. And I have a lot of I get given a lot of self-direction in this, and I just think it's really cool that an undergraduate can actually participate in these sort of research opportunities, which is also great. And I'm also only a sophomore, so this is really cool to be able to have here at BU.
Thank you. Claire.
Yeah, so it's while I've been doing my internship, I'm also involved in research on campus, which as a humanities student, I was really, really interested in doing. So my research is through the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, which is a wonderful program on campus. They fund student research. So I've applied for 2 semesters now. So I received funding in the last fall and then this spring. So I'm working 10 hours a week on this project, and I'm working with a professor in the art history department. So we're looking at the Bayeux tapestry and kind of the transfer of motifs in the medieval age, in the medieval period. So that's kind of what the research is concerning. And the professor actually just told me that she was going to list me as an assistant author on the piece that she's writing from this. So I've been like floating on a cloud for a week, because as an undergraduate, this is an absolutely wonderful, exceptional experience. So I was thrilled to learn that. And then I found this research opportunity through just talking to that professor, because she's also my advisor. So I was talking to her over the summer that I was, really looking to get involved in research, really looking to expand my resume. And she was like, wait, I need a research assistant. So it kind of just really worked out perfectly. But definitely like reaching out to your professors, having that conversation that you're looking for this specific thing can definitely lead to like these amazing results.
Thanks, Claire, and congratulations. That's cool. So Claire mentioned something we call UROP, the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program, and that's the university's way to match students with faculty to do the research. So although students can reach out on their own, and many do, and Hongru had a story of connecting, and you'll hear lots of student stories of them just taking the initiative to make this happen. Not every student can do that, and we will help connect them to make it happen. So keep that in mind as you hear about UROP going forward. And again, I'm going to say that one of the keys to the student experience at Boston University is initiative. That's especially been the case in the last year. But I continue to hear stories like I have tonight of students having meaningful internship and research experiences despite the limitations due to COVID-19. I can't wait, and hopefully as early as the fall, we'll be back to somewhat normal when we can really get back to the way things were, and these faculty and internship connections can happen more in person. Now, one of the hallmarks of Boston University, in my opinion, is our global reach and our global identity. Close to 25% of the incoming class, freshman class in CAS, will be international. Many of our students will travel and go abroad. And although last year that has been a challenge, we expect it to pick up again very soon. And I will say to your sons and daughters what I've said to every freshman class previously is please consider study abroad as part of your academic experience. In more than 30 years of advising, I've never had a student tell me they wish they didn't study abroad. I've heard the opposite. I wish I went more than once. I wish I stayed longer. Now, not everyone will study abroad. It won't be right for everybody. Certainly we have students that, in a way, coming to BU is studying abroad for them. But I think that the way to take full advantage of your opportunities at Boston University is to certainly look beyond our borders. Many of our study abroad programs are Boston University programs, so they're relatively seamless. They're BU faculty, sometimes BU facilities, and maybe most importantly, BU courses. They count on the transcript. There's no transfer necessary. So my word to all students is study abroad, but to hear of a study abroad experience, I ask Allegra to share hers.
Absolutely. And I will say I was the person who did take some of what Dean Jarvi was saying to heart, because I was really fortunate in that I went abroad twice. And that was after many long meetings with my political science advisor, who was very patient with me as we worked out how to do it. As you can see, I was fortunate to go abroad to Sydney, Australia in March of 2020, before everything. And before that, I participated in another internship program in London in the summer of 2019. And I gained a lot from these experiences, of all of which I'm incredibly grateful for. I think overall a sense of independence and resilience that I know will aid me in future travels as I go off to explore the world, hopefully, and figure out the job market and live in new cities, but also an ability to immerse myself in a multitude of cultures and traditions that aided in my continuous development of what I like to call a global perspective. I think one thing that made these experiences so special to me was that I could draw from my academic background, especially in political science, and use that to apply what I know about American systems and ways of doing policy to things like the British system and the Australian system, as well as my internship experiences abroad really helped me figure out, okay, how can we approach these big global problems, with big global solutions? And I think overall, I'm very grateful for both of my internship experiences abroad for all of those reasons and many more. To give a hint, I was able to work at KPMG in London, working on corporate social responsibility and carbon emissions reporting. So kind of an intersection of my major and minor in environmental analysis and policy. And I was able to work at World Wildlife Fund in Sydney, Australia, following the bushfires in 2020, which was really, really impactful, working on corporate partnerships.
Thank you, Allegra. And I want to reinforce that internships are part of virtually all of our study abroad experiences. And that really is an important component. So something that I'm really proud of, because I'm an academic advisor by training, is our advising program in the College of Arts and Sciences. Courtney and Harry, who are handling questions in Q&A and chat, are examples of those folks. But I want to briefly tell you how it works. First year students are assigned to first year advisors. Some of those first year advisors are based in majors and departments, and some, like Taryn here on the screen, is part of the staff I'm part of that work with undeclared students and are a resource for all students. Students will sometimes say, you know, are you my guidance counselor? And I'll say, well, not really. The role's a little different, but I am your go-to person. And if I can't answer the question, I'm going to point you in the right direction. I mentioned earlier that student initiative is really key, and that's the case, I think, in any large organization. But what I like about BU is once you begin to make those contacts, you will make connections that will serve you for the next 4 years. And I know that Trevor has an advising story and experience that he wants to share.
Yeah, I've actually got 3 advisors that I frequently talk to throughout my time here. I have a advisor in my department, as Dean Jarvi was saying. So he's a biology professor. And then I have a Killashon advisor as well. And then I meet with multiple advisors in the pre-professional advising office to talk about my pre-med track as well. So I have a lot of experience with advisors, and I can definitely say that they're a great resource here on campus. They have definitely helped me out with a couple of very tight situations, might I add. I think the first one that comes to mind is my first semester here. No, it was my second semester. And I thought that I was taking Calc 3. I was really excited to be taking Calculus 3. It was like the day before classes started, and it turns out I signed up for the wrong thing, and I was super nervous. That was like only my second semester in college. I didn't want to be taking this class that I had already basically taken in high school. So I quickly emailed my Kilishon advisor, and she was so helpful and just helping me through that process and being like, hey, you can still change out of it, and here's what will work best for your schedule and whatnot. So that was super helpful for me. And I think one of the benefits of having these advisors to go to is that, as you get advised an advisor, as you get an advisor picked for you, whether it's in your major or if you have a minor as well, you'll get a different advisor. They really shed insight into courses or things that will help you professionally. For example, my biology advisor, he's really helped me through the process of reaching out to professors for research. He's even guided me through as we've gone virtual and how that has changed things, giving me insight into what biology professors here on campus are thinking in terms of research. So that has been really helpful for me. And because of that, I was actually able to finally get into a lab this semester after over a year of looking, just because of how different things have been. I took Dean Jarvi's advice last year, and I was really prepared to go abroad. And I actually met with all three of my advisors and then a study abroad advisor as well. So how about that for academic advising? Just bouncing back and forth between 4 different advisors. And they were able to help me see how my honors college curriculum would work with my major requirements, would work with my pre-med curriculum so that I'd still graduate on time. I wouldn't lose out on anything, but I'd still be able to go abroad and do some meaningful stuff. But unfortunately, with COVID-19 happening and whatnot, I was forced to cancel those plans. But I think that that's just such a great example of how helpful these academic advisors are in really wanting you to take advantage of all the wonderful opportunities that BU has.
Thank you, Trevor. And I really want to reinforce that Trevor just talked about 4 or 5 different sources of advising because he had different questions and there are different specialties. So again, that common theme of the students taking an initiative to connect with those people, but also knowing that as soon as you connect with one advisor, they will connect you with the others. So thanks, that was great. So a couple things, and then get ready, students. You've been wonderful. I'm going to throw some questions your way. And I know these programs are primarily designed for students, but moms and dads and family members, keep an eye open for other opportunities to learn more about the College of Arts and Sciences. The programs reflected here, I mean, student meet and greets are always helpful. You'll get to meet fellow students, so send your sons and daughters there. The academic expos are opportunities to learn from our departments, from both faculty and students. Obviously, pre-law, pre-health is pretty straightforward. That advising happens through the College of Arts and Sciences and serves the entire university. But as I mentioned earlier, a liberal arts degree is fantastic preparation for either of those tracks. And first year experience is a program that is sort of the signature offering is a 1-credit course that students take, but it's a series of programs designed to introduce students to the college and the university in general. I mentioned earlier that I expect things to be back in the fall to pretty much normal, which means that I won't be here in my oldest daughter's bedroom. And she hasn't lived here for 10 years, but we still call it her room, here on Cape Cod, which is just east of Boston. And I know you're joining us from all over the globe, so I appreciate it. And I also know you're joining us from different time zones, so I also appreciate that as well. So a couple things, Dean's host, and maybe you can just jump in and go from there, but we couldn't really give enough attention to the faculty that I think we need to, because they are the key to a Boston University education. That's certainly the case in the College of Arts and Sciences. So some of you have mentioned relationships with faculty through advising or through research, but can someone else maybe share an example of how you've gotten to know a faculty member on that, what that has meant for you?
I guess I can jump in. I've got a couple, I've got a couple faculty members that I've had the opportunity to work really closely with, one of which is my advisor in the art history department, who I'm working as her research assistant currently. So not only have I gotten to know her in like registering for classes and talking about courses, but also through, finding internships. Like she's helped me whenever possible there, and also now, helping her with her research. And then I was also able to work really closely with a professor while working on my honors in the major coursework. So that was with another professor in the art history department. And I just approached that professor after taking one of his courses and was like, hi, like, I really like your subject matter. Like, would it be possible to turn one of the essays that I wrote for this class into an honors project? So being able to work really closely with him and then now doing an independent study course, like a directed study, has really helped me to like form, a relationship outside of being in the traditional classroom setting.
Go ahead, Allegra. I'd love to hear yours.
Sure, I would say I've had very similar experiences as well as Claire. I think something that I just immediately thought of was my thesis advisor, Professor Graham Wilson, who is the previous director of the Boston University Initiatives on Cities, who I have never met in person, but throughout my bachelor's, master's dual degree program, given that I've been taking the graduate level courses this year and completing my master's thesis this year, I was introduced to him over Zoom by one of my professors, Professor Mattioli in the political science department, who actually helped introduce me to Elena because we took a course from her. And it's been really, really helpful just to have the amount of experience that especially BU professors have in completing not only coursework, but those large, big thesis, research project, huge things that we work on, especially over Zoom this year. And I really don't think I could have done it without his support and guidance. So I'm a big fan of our professors.
Hey, by the way, Professor Mattioli is awesome. She's relatively new and I've gotten to know her. Yeah. I'm really excited to have her be part of the crew. So another major player, I think, in your education here that we don't have time to dip into too deeply, but it's just the city of Boston. So anyone want to share how you've made that part of your experience, whether it's academic, social, cultural, just any way you want to just talk about how you've factored Boston into your equation?
Yeah, I can speak on this first. Being from Hawaii, 5,000 miles away, I wasn't able to visit BU's campus before I made my decision. So when I stepped foot on campus for orientation, that was my first time. And to be honest, when I was doing my research, I was a little unsure of how I would feel about the urban campus. If you looked into our school, you know that it's not a traditional campus setting. So I was worried that it wouldn't have that campus vibe to it. It wouldn't have that campus feel. But in my almost 3 years now, it is, I like to say, the best of both worlds. We are so close to the city, and that brings so many opportunities socially, professionally. If you love to eat like me, there's so many good places to eat. I lived on the edge of East Campus my first 2 years, so it was seriously a 10-minute walk into the heart of the city. And I took advantage of that like every weekend just to explore this city that I was calling my home for the next 4 years. But at the same time, if you walk east, you're in the city. But if you walk west, you know that you're on campus. Our campus is a 1.5 mile stretch along Commonwealth Avenue, and you just feel at home here. It's just really awesome, and I really love that integration between BU's campus and the city as well. I think it's really awesome, and I think we're very fortunate to be in the place that we are.
Allegra.
Yeah, I completely agree with Trevor. I think also that sentiment of integration is something that the university takes super seriously. And there are many, many opportunities to get out and explore the city with your classmates and peers and friends. One of which is through the Community Service Center, which is what we term Fisop, which is short for the First Year Student Outreach Project. And it's a week-long community service intensive opportunity for first-year students to come to campus, move in a week early, choose their side of the room if they really want. That was why I did it, but I came out with so much more, so I'm very happy I did it. I've been fortunate to be able to be both a first-year participant as well as a 2-time staff leader, the last time of which was with Trevor, so it's great to see his face over here. And that's really an opportunity for a small group of first-year students to be introduced to Boston as a city and the public transportation system and the people who make up the city and the communities that make up this city by upperclassmen. So it's not with BU faculty, it's not with BU staff, it's actual students who then take you around the city. They introduce you to amazing communities, amazing food, amazing opportunities in a way that is giving back to the city. So you can be introduced to Boston University as our little BU bubble, as we call it, but also Boston as a whole. And I think that's something that started off my BU experience and my BU career on the perfect foot. And I'm so happy that I was able to start it there and continue my relationship with the people of Boston and giving back through that.
Thanks. Claire.
Yeah, hi. I was going to add that I also did Fisop, and it was an absolutely wonderful opportunity, not only to get to know students that would become some of my really great friends, but also to meet community partners that I still volunteer with to, make those relationships outside of Boston University, but with the community partners. And then I was also going to add that FY 101, which is the first year experience, is also a really wonderful way to get to know the city. My freshman year, they did tickets for duck boats. So we got to go with a whole group of students on the duck boats around Boston, I want to say for $5. We did a 5K around the Freedom Trail. So that was an exhausting way to see Boston, but was still really, really fun. So it was just those little ways of doing these programs are just such fantastic ways to get to know the city and kind of orient yourself when you're first coming to town. But one of my other things is that it's also integrated into the coursework as well. So it's my art history surveys. It's part of our papers. And both the first semester and the second semester was visiting the Museum of Fine Arts to go and observe a piece and then to write a paper about it. So it's not only is it these extracurricular programs, but it's also integrated into the coursework.
Thanks. So I have a tough one for you guys, and I'll give you a little warning in advance. So you guys are some of our veteran Dean's hosts, and you've done these with me before. And when we're talking to students, I'll usually say, what one piece of advice, right, would you give these seniors in high school as they navigate and negotiate what they should do? But we're talking to families and primarily parents. So I guess I'll ask, what advice would you give them? And let's jump ahead. You're in college. You're here at Boston University. In what ways was your family, whoever in your family, did things, supported you in ways that really were meaningful to you, and you'd like to pass that on? And it's okay to say what the last person said, but you can come up with other things as well. So I know that's a tough one, but do I see a raised hand who wants to get that started? All right, Elena, go ahead.
Okay, I think one of the biggest things that parents should hear is that if your student goes to Boston University, they are in extremely good hands. I just want to say, I think my mom would trust Stacy with my life. She does. So the staff and faculty, they really, really care about the students. And I have made such amazing connections and have always felt well supported. And I wanted to say that about faculty is not only are they there for you professionally and academically, I have friendships with the staff and the faculty that really have carried me through, just like my teachers did in high school. So those connections that they may have with their teachers in high school, they can still make in college. And I just let your kid fly, let them do what they want to do, knowing that they're in good hands. Definitely reach out, because college can be a lonely, scary time sometimes, but you know your kid better than everyone. You also know that they can come to college and kick butt. So I think trust them, let them free a little bit to navigate this on their own, because I think it's a really important learning experience.
Thank you, Elena. And thanks for the idea for the next CAS t-shirt. Come and kick butt. Mark.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely want to echo what Elena was saying. I mean, you mentioned it earlier, Dean Jarvi, the initiative being a part of kind of life here at BU. And I think if they're coming to BU, it's amazing for parents to be able to trust their kids to have that initiative, to get out there and, try different clubs, try and seek out the opportunities we talked about here today. And that's a super, super big, important part of it. But then also just to be there for your students, or your kids rather. You can support them from a distance, let them know that you're there for them, but then allow them to kind of take those steps forward and trust them to do what's best for them. So it's a really, really important part of coming to BU is finding your bearing and being able to become a part of the community.
Thank you. Hongru.
So I'm from Newton, Massachusetts, which is like 15 minutes down the road. So during my freshman year, my parents always showed up every single weekend to make sure I didn't die or anything. And as you can see, I didn't. Um, it's kind of funny to think back on it now, but my parents were kind of just worried that I wouldn't fit in or, find my place here at BU. But I can really say that it is a great time to be here and it feels great. And you can always find some place for you to be. Although it is a big university, you can really build your own community, to find your own community, find your little corner with all your friends, and it's really amazing. And I really feel like BU helps you like a lot to build that community, even though it is such a big, well, community.
All right, Claire, wrap this up for us.
Yeah, this is probably super cheesy, but I guess the best thing that my parents did for me when I was coming to BU is that my mom set up like a once weekly at this time every week. She was going to call me and talk to me about my week. So it's every Sunday at 4 p.m. I speak to my mother, and it's just such a good way to wrap up the week. And she's gotten really good at asking the exact right questions of like, oh, like how was your internship this week? How is your research going? Like, what was your favorite thing about class this week? And kind of being able to talk to her in that way about everything that was going on in my academic life, even though she's currently 1,500 miles away, was something that was super special to me all over 4 years.
Good. Well, thank you. And as much as I wanted you to learn about BU through our programs and the opportunities I presented, hopefully you've also learned about the college through the students that represented us today. They are impressive, amazing, and always do a better job than any of us in conveying what it means to be in the college and at Boston University. So if we're in person, this is when you'd be getting that round of applause, but please know I really appreciate it. And to the families that joined us today, this is a special time. Obviously, if you're here, you have options. Your sons and daughters have options. You've done a great job. Hopefully, we've given you some things to think about, given you some idea of how we're special, and we do think we're special. Please feel free to email me to continue the conversation, but I also recommend working through your sons and daughters, especially have them go to programming, reach out, do what they can do. But this concludes our program. So with that, thank you to everybody. Good luck with the college search process and good night.